Well, thank you very much, and good evening. Well, I would add my words to the warm welcome to the two new ministers from Estonia and, of course, from Italy. We had, I think, a very interesting start of our Eurogroup, thanks to the initiative of the president of inviting WHO responsible to set the scene for the discussion that then came. I found very interesting the description of the work they are doing for mapping the new variants of the coronavirus. The responsible of WHO also underlined the concept that nobody can be safe before everybody is safe, and so the importance of a global initiative on vaccine, praising the very good cooperation with the European Commission, for instance, on the COVAX initiative. Of course, improving the public health situation is the first reason why we need to win the race that is underway between injections and infections. But we also know that this is also an economic issue, because a successful vaccination is also crucial for the economic recovery. As I explained to ministers in the winter forecast that we presented last week, we assume that the containment measures will ease first gradually towards the end of the second quarter and then more markedly in the second half of this year. And this assumes that the most vulnerable and an increasing share of the adult population will have been vaccinated by then. So we need to do, and we will do, everything possible to make that happen. But what happens to our economy also depends on our decisions, not only on the rollout of vaccines. First, it is up to us to make a success of Next Generation EU. You know that the impact of Next Generation EU is not yet factored in our winter forecast, but you know also that our simulation says that we will have a further growth of 2% on average and stronger than 2% in the most affected countries. Second, we will need to make wise choices in terms of fiscal policy to avoid a premature withdrawal of supportive measures, as Pascal just said. You know that we have decided last September, that the general escape clause will remain activated throughout this year. And about next year, 2022, member states will need guidance on this front, since they will soon start preparing their budget for next year and medium-term fiscal planning. So for this reason, in early March, the Commission will provide guidance on how it intends to approach to this year's spring's economic policy package. This guidance will include preliminary fiscal guidance for the period ahead and the parameters that we will look at to decide on the general escape clause. And this will be our contribution to trigger the discussion Pascal was referring to take this Eurogroup orientation for our fiscal policy late in spring. Of course, all of this is connected to the issues of corporate sector solvency, which also we discussed today. And as Pascal said, taking stock of the fact that the initiatives we took were successful until now in reducing the risk of bankruptcies and insolvencies. And these risks were there. In the note that we distributed to ministers, this note shows that without accounting for government support measures or new borrowing, 23% of EU companies would have experienced liquidity distress by the end of 2020 after exhausting their working capital buffers. And the fraction of firms that are in liquidity, that would have been in liquidity distress after the exhaustion of working capital buffers, varies significantly between sectors, ranging from 8% of all firms in the manufacturing of computers and electronics, 8%, to 75% in the accommodation and food services sectors. So thanks to public guarantee schemes, loan repayment moratoria, and also common instruments like the SURE mechanism, these risks remained low. But we have to avoid a sharp rise in insolvencies in the future, and it will be crucial to manage very carefully the withdrawal of public support measures. First, moving gradually from a blanket approach to a more targeted actions, with the distinction, not an easy one, between the companies that we consider non-viable and companies that we consider viable, because especially in some sectors it will not be easy, this definition. Second, facilitating a diversification of financing of these firms and preserving an effective credit channel, especially for smaller companies. And third, for unviable firms, to organize an orderly exit, ensuring sound insolvency procedures. In sum, we need to take the right decision to tackle the insolvency challenges to the corporate sectors in the next months and years, with the social implications of our decisions at the forefront of our minds. We are dealing with jobs, workers, people, not only with abstract entities. Last, final words on the international role of the euro. As Pascal said, it's not about currency competition. It's a contribution to a more stable and diversified global currency system, and also a help to shield our economy from foreign exchange shocks. Several actions were discussed on the basis of the communication of January 19 from the Commission. Among policy choices, let me only underpin two of them. One is the importance of the successful issuance of euro-denominated bonds to finance next generation EU. They will add significant depth and liquidity to the market, and the take-up of our sure issuance bodes very well on this front. And second, strengthening cross-border payment system, in relation to which our work with the ECB on digital finance is crucial. And lastly, but not, it is maybe the most important thing, pursuing work on sustainable finance. Here the EU is a global hub. We can strengthen our role, and the commitment to have 30% of next generation EU issuance on green bonds will for sure strengthen this role. Thank you.